Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have a look at the latest from the live radar. We'll then run through the UKMO Office Run, have a look at the precipitation and temperature over the next 5 days as it's drying up for most, especially away from the far north of Scotland where there could be a few showers still, and it is warming up significantly as well. Temperatures will be rising to the mid to high 20s over the next 3 or 4 days, and as we head into the next 5 to 7 days towards the weekend and start of next week, it's likely we do see areas starting to touch on that 30-degree mark, if not breaching it. We'll then have a look at the longer range, looking at the various computer models and the ensembles, as we're still seeing a consistent signal for perhaps some record-breaking heat, some extreme heat throughout the middle of the month. We're still seeing runs getting the 850 HPA temperatures between 20 and 25 degrees, which doesn't sound exceptional, but that would produce temperatures at the surface between 35 and, dare I say, 40 degrees centigrade. And remember, that would, if we did break 39 and get towards that 40 degree mark, we would be, of course, breaking the all-time temperature record in the United Kingdom, and we'd be getting towards that elusive 40 degree mark, which is really quite exceptional. And we're still seeing quite a few ensemble members and operational runs showing this, so there's a lot of caution over the next sort of week or so as we see what happens with this potential, or very likely now, heat wave, and how high does it get. So remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. So if we do start on the live radar, you can see not a lot is going on. If you have been following the videos after the last few days, you can see that all this shower activity is ramping down. As I've been saying, there are still a few showers around, especially to the north and west of Scotland, and perhaps across the northern parts of Northern Ireland as well. But elsewhere it's pretty dry, maybe a few showers across the West Midlands into parts of southern Wales, but just with some thicker cloud there. Most areas are dry. It's not particularly warm today. It's pleasant, temperatures around, slightly below average in a few places. And that's because the upper air conditions are not particularly warm. They're below average at the moment, but they're rising over the next 24 hours to average before rising above average gradually over the next 5 days. There's a big high pressure system built in from our southwest. So if we do look at the temperatures, we're sort of peak temperatures of the day about 3:30. You can see those temperatures are in around that 20 degree mark in a lot of places. The far southeast into East Anglia perhaps reaching 21, 22, maybe the odd 23, but most areas around that 20 degree mark. Some areas further northwards and westwards are more towards the mid to high teens. So nothing exceptional at the moment, but this is probably the coldest day we're going to be seeing for a good couple of weeks now. It does look likely temperatures will be consistently in the mid to high 20s, and we could see a stretch next week where temperatures remain in around that 30 degree mark for quite a period of time, perhaps 3 to 5 days, or maybe even longer. We just can't really say, because the end of that time frame is sort of 10 days beyond, where there is a lot of uncertainty, and there's some models going more moderate again with the temperatures, and there's some, as I said, going extreme, getting towards the high 30s. So if we do now have a look at what the UK Met Office Run is showing over the next 5 days, nothing too extreme yet. Just warm, hot conditions starting to threaten the heat wave thresholds of 25 degrees further northwards, 28 degrees further southwards and eastwards, and sort of in a gradient from that. So 26 degrees across northern England, 27 degrees across sort of Midlands, southwest England, and then 28 degrees in London, the southeast, East Anglia. So we're starting to threaten those heatwave thresholds in each of the regions over the next 5 days. So if we do have a look at the precipitation, you can see some showers pushing into the far north and west over today. It does move through, but it's just weather fronts from low pressure systems just off the coast. Nothing too exceptional. Eventually those weather fronts do move through, and we just see again just showers generally over the higher ground before things dry up through Wednesday evening. As we head into Thursday, again a few showers around, maybe across Northern Isles, but nothing too crazy. And then again continuing into Friday, some showers across Northern Ireland, Scotland, Western, Northern Scotland especially. And as we head into Saturday, again a few showers here or there, but nothing significant at all. Now if we do have a look at the pressure, right towards the end of the run, you can see big high pressure is building in. Again, you can see some blues there indicating lower pressure, but 1024 millibars is still high pressure. And if we have a look at the 850 HP temperatures, you can see it is rising in from the west. This run does show a brief blip of cooler air coming round the high at times, so it could produce a cooler day here or there, but most areas are around that 10 to 15 degree mark quite consistently over the next 2 weeks. And we can see that reflected on the 2-meter temperatures. As I said, nothing exceptional yet, but still warm, potentially threatening the heat wave thresholds in a few regions. So you can see this afternoon those temperatures rising, as I said, around that 20 degree mark, 15 to 20 degrees widely, maybe 21, 22 in the far south and southeast. As we head into Wednesday, those temperatures once again will rise, perhaps getting towards the 25, 26, maybe 27 degree range. So again, just a couple degrees below the heat wave threshold, starting to threaten it. Elsewhere further northwards, much cooler with more precipitation around. It's going to be a little bit up and down with those temperatures, as I said, because of those perhaps slightly cooler air masses mixing in from the north. It could give a few cooler days or slightly cooler days here or there. So if we move into Thursday, you can see still warm, but slightly cooler in a few regions, but still around or above average, around that 20 to 23 degree mark, maybe 25, 26 degrees in a few spots. And as we head into Friday, again, you see those temperatures rising back towards the mid to high 20s, 24, 25 degrees widely, maybe 27, 28, and you can rule out a 29 degree through Friday. And you can see that continues into Saturday, maybe a tad cooler again because that cooler air mass coming around the high, but a little bit sceptical of that. But 24, 25 still in the south, and that will be continuing to Sunday, where it even could get higher towards the mid to high 20s, maybe touching on that 30 degree mark, breaking heatwave thresholds. And again, if we see that consistently, we'd be able to officially say this is a heat wave. It doesn't look like that will be happening. So I can say with quite a lot of certainty we're going to be seeing heatwave-like conditions for some, i.e. officially breaking those heatwave thresholds for more than 3 consecutive days. And as I said, it could turn even hotter beyond that. So if we do have a look at what the GFS is showing now, this GFS 6 o'clock run is very warm, very hot, and around the 15th of July, in 10 days' time, it goes extreme, off the charts heat from this. This would produce temperatures widespread, breaking our all-time temperature record. It would get temperatures around that 40 degree mark, perhaps higher, because again, this is low resolution. Once you get high resolution in, it's always a degree or two or perhaps more higher than these models are showing, and this run is getting towards that high 30 degree range. So if we do run it through, high pressure is building in. We'll have a look at the temperatures at 850 HP in a minute, but we'll run through the pressure first. And you can see a slight air mass moving around the northern edge of the high pressure, maybe bringing cooler conditions slightly for Friday, or Friday and Saturday, but high pressure firmly in control, and with the warm upper air temperatures, it is really quite pleasant. That high pressure just sits over the top of the UK, but as we head towards the 12th, 13th, 14th, you see this cut-off low down towards Portugal, and this is going to develop and move northwards, and what it does is it drags all of this hot air across the Mediterranean, North Africa and Iberia up towards the UK. Just watch it develop, and as it does, it drags up a southerly flow. If you do follow these isobars back, it's going all the way towards North Africa. With the pressure mixing in, it will be a very unstable flow as well, so thunderstorms potentially around with this as well, but it goes incredibly hot. We'll have a look at those upper air temperatures in a minute. One thing it does do is it does climax the heat wave. So other runs have not got this quite extreme heat, but what it does is consistently hot conditions, consistent low 30s, high 20s, whereas this sort of climaxes and drops off quickly, because when that low pressure moves through, it brings back a westerly flow, so cooler conditions, and right towards the end of the run, we are back towards more average sort of conditions with a westerly flow. Now, if I do run it back and have a look at those 850 HP temperatures, you can see nothing too special over the next 7 days, above average, but as we head towards day 10, it is ridiculous. So you can see warm over the next couple of days, that 10 degree isotherm getting in, rising into next week, perhaps the 15 degree isotherm arriving by early to middle of next week. Very warm, especially in the south, maybe getting some brief cooler interludes, maybe in the far north, but elsewhere very warm. The south, incredibly hot. And as we head towards the 15th, you see that incredibly hot air mass pluming up from the south. The 20-degree isotherm gets in. The 25-degree isotherm gets in. That would be the hottest air mass ever recorded in the United Kingdom. And remember, this is not 300-hour chart. This is a 10-day chart. The other runs not quite going for this, but they're going for a similar scenario. So it does look potentially very hot around that 15th of July, 16th, 17th of July period. Incredibly hot air mass gets pushed away, and we go into a cooler Atlantic flow. Now, if I do run it back and just have a look at that at the United Kingdom look, and have a look at the 3-hour interlude, you can see that incredibly hot air mass moving in. The 20-degree isotherm engulfs much of England, Wales, and southern parts of Scotland, and we see the 25-degree isotherm move in, and perhaps the upper air temperatures getting towards 27 degrees. Now, the amount of times we've broken 20 degrees at 850 HPA can be counted on your hands. It can be, or using your fingers, it's under 10. It's difficult to say exactly because it's difficult to, of course, measure these upper air temperatures, as we have to use weather balloons, things like that. But generally, we rarely see the 20-degree isotherm move in. Perhaps, if we're lucky, once a year, and even then, that's in hotter spells like we've had over the last 5 years. We've seen it maybe 3 or 4 times. But 27 degrees at 850 HPA, that is ridiculous. And if we have a look at the 2-meter temperatures, that would be producing temperatures in excess of 35 degrees widely, 37, 38 degrees widely as well. And of course, as I said, these are low resolution, and you most likely will be around that 40-degree mark, perhaps higher. Ridiculous temperatures would be seen here. This is sort of the, I don't want to say climate change sort of charts that we've been threatened at for many years, but this is the sort of scenario that a lot of meteorologists and scientists have said would be coming. Now, it's not sustained, of course, but it is pretty extreme. These sort of temperatures would be dangerous. And again, it is still cropping up on the models, which is the surprising part. If we saw this one run like this every summer, we wouldn't really care that much. But it's the fact that we're seeing it consistently, not only from the operational runs, but from some of the ensembles as well, showing it has support. This is a realistic scenario in 10 days' time. Now, if we do compare it to the GEM, see what that is showing. Again, we see high pressure build in, goes much, much drier, and then we see brief low pressure move in for the 13th. And again, that low pressure to our south never fully develops, and we're just dry and warm, perhaps starting to pull a cooler air mass in from the north. So GEM has a proper warm, heatwave-like conditions for perhaps a week, but then at day 10 breaks it down a bit in from the north and the west, instead of pulling up this extreme hot air mass that just stays to our south. So very interesting there from the GEM. Again, it's not eradicating any heat wave. We're still going to be seeing some very hot conditions getting towards that 30-degree mark for a good 5 to 7 days, but it pulls in much cooler conditions in around sort of 10 days time. So yeah, 2 different conflicting scenarios, but at this stage I'd be more inclined towards the GFS scenario. Perhaps not that extreme, of course, but perhaps a southerly plume, it definitely looks more likely than it breaking down like the GEM has it breaking down today. So if we do compare it to the ECMWF, again you see high pressure building in, low pressure trying to come around that high, and right towards day 10 we see that low pressure develop. Now, we're not seeing a direct southerly here, but if you have a look at those upper air masses, you can see hot air is wafting up from the south. We are seeing this plume come up. Of course, it's a slightly different time frame to the GFS, because by this stage, this 20-degree isotherm was in to the UK, but this would be showing a similar scenario, perhaps not the same outcome. We may not see the incredibly hot air, but we're going to be seeing a southerly plume on this run if we ran it on another couple of days, and maybe the 16th, 17th, 18th of July would be incredibly hot. And really, regardless, we still have a look at the United Kingdom look. You can see 15-degree isotherm in, those 2 meter temperatures in around that low 30-degree mark, and most likely would be higher than that, 31, 32 degrees, and maybe even higher than that in reality once we get into the shorter time frame, maybe 33, 34. So still incredibly hot from the ECMWF, but not record breaking. So yeah, we just got to keep an eye on this really, as yeah, there's some extreme scenarios out there at the moment. Now, if we finish by having a look at the ensembles, you can see we are cooler than average at the moment, returning above average over the next few days, maybe a couple blips here or there, but generally above average, warm, if not hot conditions once we get above that 10 degree at 850 HPA. And the thing is, it builds. So this air mass by itself, as it was just transient, wouldn't be incredibly warm. It'd be average, really. But it's because it builds. We just continue with this warm air over the top of us, and it's pretty stagnant under the high pressure. But it's around 10th of July, so as I said, in 5 days' time onwards, where we could see things really ramp up. Getting above the 10 degree isotherm consistently, perhaps towards the 15 degree isotherm, or at least 12 to 14 degrees, which would give temperatures widely in the mid to high 20s, and of course in peak areas 30 degrees, reaching heatwave thresholds. And it's around, as I said, the 13th to perhaps the 19th of July, we have these extreme scenarios coming in. I'd say extreme, anything really above probably 18 degrees at 850 HPA, that would give temperatures in the mid 30s. So anything like that, and you can see a good third perhaps of ensemble members are getting us towards that sort of 16 to 20 degree isotherm, and you can see others, including the GFS Operational, get us above the 20 degree isotherm, and you can see that gets us towards the 25 degree isotherm, and as I said, in parts of Kent getting towards the 27 degree isotherm, incredibly hot. And you can see the control run goes very cool in that period, but goes incredibly hot afterwards. You can see the majority of ensemble members are well above average, very dry as well, and yeah, could see some really exceptional conditions. We have a look at the ensemble look for 2 meter temperatures. You can see it's rising over the next few days, widely towards the mid to high 20s in around 5 days' time. And even the next 5 days, we're likely to exceed that, but just widely mid to high 20s, maybe 30 degrees, starting around sort of Friday, Saturday, Sunday time. And then you can see in the longer term some incredibly hot runs around the 10th to the 15th of July. Some are starting to get well above the 30 degree mark, perhaps the mid 30s. And you can see in the longer term those extreme runs, including the GFS Operational Run, getting towards the mid to high 30s. Again, adding on the shorter range, we could be getting towards 40 degrees, incredibly hot. Now we've got to compare it to the ECMWF ensembles, because of course it could just be it could just be the erratic GFS ensembles, which we've seen especially over winter be quite erratic as well. But it's not just the GFS ensembles, we're seeing consistency from the ECMWF ensembles as well. So this is real, these are real outputs, these are real potential here for seeing some very warm, hot, extreme conditions. Perhaps I must say that it's not guaranteed. Just a decent chance. We do go very warm, hot, and a bit of a chance now, much larger than normal chance of going extremely hot, maybe breaking records. So we're cooler than average at the moment, getting to around or above average. We have a bit more of a blip on the ECMWF around the 10th of July. So come this Saturday, Sunday time. Running through the 10th, 11th, or 9th to 11th, really. So perhaps something slightly cooler there. But beyond that, it does go incredibly hot, like the GFS. Back well above the 10 degree isotherm, heading towards the 15 degree isotherm, and you can see quite a few between that 15 to 20 degree mark. Perhaps not an ensemble member getting quite as high as the GFS, towards 25 degrees, but good 5 to 10 getting towards the 20 degree mark, if not hotter. And you can see the ECMWF ensemble member there has got plenty of support, and that showed widespread low to mid 30s in around that 13th to 15th of July period. Incredibly hot conditions could be coming up. Again, I can't say for certain, maybe for another sort of 3 or 4 days or so, but once this starts to get within the 7-day time frame, these really hot conditions that we are seeing and around, I said, that 13th to 15th of July period. So once it gets into within the 7-day time frame, and definitely within the 5-day time frame, we're going to be knowing for certain exactly how hot it's going to get. At this stage, there really is quite a range of scenarios, but I'd say the most likely scenario is it's sort of around mid 30s. Small chance it's going to be hotter than that. High 30s, 40 degrees potentially, and there of course is a chance that it's just generally mid to high 20s as well. But I'm not seeing anything that's indicating it's cooling down significantly. It does look like this is a ramp up. Whatever the temperatures are this week, add a few degrees to that next week, and potentially even higher than that as we head into the following weekend, that weekend of around the sort of 15th, 16th, 17th of July. So anyway, thanks for watching. Do stay safe out there over the next couple of weeks. It's going to be hot. Regardless if it does get to these extreme temperatures, it's going to be persistently hot. It's going to be dry. People are going to get dehydrated, heat stroke, sunburn. These things are a risk, even if it doesn't get into these extreme temperatures. We've got high UV levels out there whenever the sun gets out. So please do take the necessary precautions and, as I say, stay hydrated out there. And do look out for others as well. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. And I'll see you again for another video soon.